UV unwrapping your PS1 models inside of Blender can either take way too long or just be very confusing. So in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you 3 easy steps to UV unwrap any model inside of Blender. Let's hop straight in with step number 1. First thing you're going to do is select your mesh and every single piece of it. Now we're going to go to the material tab over here, click new, and then over here on the base color, click on the little yellow dot, and then we can go click on image texture. Now that we have this, we can go click new, and then I'm just going to give it whatever size, doesn't even matter, you can leave it default, and then I'm going to go UV grid or color grid. If you are working with a PS1 character, you can go for lower reds. For now, let's go 128. Cool. Then I'm going to go click new image. So you see currently it's only on one of my objects. So what I can do is have all of them selected, then go click Control L, and we can go link materials. What we can do next is split our scene in half like this and go add this top one, change it to UV editor. And in here, I'm going to go click tabs, go edit mode. And the 2 things that we need to change now. Firstly, click on this little 2-way arrow. This will enable the sync selection. So you see before nothing was showing up here. Now everything is here, and whatever you select is going to show up over here, which is very useful. Now, the second thing I want to do is either I'm going to have to pull this over or just scroll along the top, go click over here, and we can go to UV stretch. And this will show us how stretched different parts of the mesh is. Now, the last thing we need to do is go enable a free add-on. So I'm going to go edit preferences, and I'm going to go get extensions. At the top, you can go type in UniV. So UniV, click install. UniV is a free add-on, and I'll talk a little bit about what it actually does later and why we're going to use it. But now we need to go to step 2. Learning where to place your seams can be one of the most confusing and difficult parts of UV unwrapping. And that's exactly why we've set it up this way. So I'm going to click N, get rid of the side panel, and here we have our base workflow. So for now, let me go through my process for placing seams. Now, by default, I would usually just go U and unwrap angle base, and that will just give me a base idea of my mesh. And then once I have this, I'll start sectioning off different pieces that I want to be different colors. So especially when it comes to PS1 assets, if you have anything that's going to be a different material or color kind of type thing, then you can go section those off, and they won't have any sorts of jagged lines or anything like that. Because if you're painting in and don't have enough resolution, then these lines are going to be a bit weird. But if we add a seam over here, then it's going to be a more harsh transition. So over here, I can go select this edge, and I could probably do the exact same thing on the back tire, because both of these are going to be different from the base of the bike. So once you have the start selection, you can go click Control E, or you can just click U and then mark seam. Okay, so you see now these are highlighted in red. And to see your changes, you can select A and go U and unwrap angle based again. And you'll see now these have been separated off. Now, for some reason, we have this little triangle over here. And why is it here? Well, we can kind of see what happens because we have the selection synced. And you can actually see I accidentally missed a face sitting on the inside of my mesh. So I can go X, faces, and delete that. But you can see of our mesh, we have a few sections that are a light green color. So if we want, we can select those edges and see why these are like that. Now, on sections like this, we can go kind of section them off. I would select the base, something like this, and then go Control E, mark seam. And if I select everything, you unwrap, you can see now this is split off, very stretched. If you have a tube looking icon like this, or a tube part of the mesh looking like this, you can select kind of one edge going along. This also works for something like an arm. If you're going to have an arm, basically just select the base of it, go select the end of it, add an edge loop, and then just you need to add an edge loop going down the side. And if we mark seam and then go unwrap everything again, you can see now this is looking a little bit better, but we still have these 2 very stretched phases. And what are these? They are the ones that are connected to this side. What we can do is just add a few seams up here, and these will stop all these edges over here from being stretched. So if I go Control E, mark seam, and then we can unwrap, and you see here, now this is looking a lot better. By the way, if you want to learn how to make PS1 characters inside of Blender step by step, then you can check the first link in the description and grab my PS1 character card. Hope to see you there. Back to the video. Now, another reason we added this texture is because if we have this image over here, we can actually go Z material preview and see what our image is looking like. This is useful because you can see what parts are actually being stretched and what it actually looks like. So for example, this line should probably not be so wonky, especially like here where you see this one is doing like all of this all over this face. So you can see this is a problem area over here. So for example, let's select a couple of these edges. Let's look, we can probably section this off. And now we can make a decision of if we want to section off like the back half of the bark, or if it's going to be some sort of side rail that we want to section off like this. For now, I'm just going to kind of section off the back. So I'm going to go across like that, Control E, mark seam. And then we could also section off the like back side of the bark. If we go over like there, mark seam, there we go. And then now if we go U, unwrap, you can see this is looking a lot better. Now this is the part that we can deal with individually. I would go through and find seams that look bad. So you can see over here, this one is looking quite stretched. So we can go mark seam, U, unwrap, and you see there. Now this is looking a lot straighter and a lot less stretched with these markings over here. Anything that's like a 90-degree angle is going to be more likely to be stretched. And so here, if you look here, these are going to be stretched. These are going to be stretched. So you can kind of see just by experience what is going to be stretched. If we look at this one, probably stretched. Oh, there, it is stretched. So there, we can go unwrap and you can see how much better it's looking already. Now, this is going to be a little bit more difficult, or something you're just going to have to add a seam going through the center, just because there's no other way of really like sectioning this off. So over here, mark seam, and we can unwrap. You see, it looks a little better. This one over here, again, 90-degree angle, so we can probably go mark seam on that, and you see that's looking flatter. So let's just check this face. Sometimes there is actually just model issues. Like here, this is a face that isn't actually flat. So you see, this should actually be some sort of triangle like there. Not that it's going to help a huge amount with this, but you could go section off parts like this. But you can also go judge based off of your image texture now, if it's worth sectioning something off or not. So over here, this is actually looking pretty wonky, but the thing that's causing it is this edge right here. So there's a mark seam on that. And you can see that looks a lot better. And now this edge is looking a lot straighter. So that's a very good way of deciding whether or not to add a seam, is whether or not it's actually affecting this image texture. So here, let me add one over here. This might cause it to overlap, you see, like that, which is not going to be good because you are making it less stretched. So this is looking a lot better. But if you were now to texture paint, you would see that if I paint like over here, it's actually showing up on the other side as well. So if you want to get a little bit of detail in here, it's not going to work. You see, you have to be more strategic with where you place those seams because it does affect a lot of what you're doing. All right, now we've done that, let's go on to step 3. All right, step 3 is a huge part that most people end up just dismissing and never doing properly. And this is where that add-on that we installed comes in. So the first thing is the texel density. Now, what is this? This is a kind of a thing that is more common in stuff like Maya and not really as common in Blender. But over here, we have this get set and this number over here. So what that actually is how much it's taking up of this texture. So if we go click get, we can see how much it's taking up. So 258 is the texel density. And now we can take this, and if we change this to something like 200, so if we go change it to like 200, a round number, probably is better to have a round number inside of something like doing the pixelated textures. Firstly, you can change stuff based on the size of it and match different meshes in the same like scene. So we can probably go something like 350 or just 300 and set. And then once we have that, our next job is to actually go place these, because you don't actually want to just leave it up to Blender's default. And actually looking at this, I think it's going to be a little bit too big. So maybe go 280 and set, because it's literally too big compared to the size of my UV like island. Sometimes I'll just select bits and then just Control I to select everything else. By the way, I'm using L to select specific islands, also getting them rotated the way I want them to be rotated. But basically you can go manually place these in your scene, and this will give you a lot better, like a lot less gaps between your meshes. And you can give it a custom margin, because basically you don't want to be putting stuff too close to each other when you are painting, because inside of Blender, when you're painting, sometimes it will bleed over a couple pixels. So just make sure that you're giving it like a decent amount of space, but not too much. So here I can just go manually place all of these, and you see we started out with a texel density of 250, and now I've bumped it to 280. You can very easily get a decent pack that takes up get more detail per image texture. Now you can see this is even a great UV pack. We kind of just constrained this piece right here because you can't get it any bigger unless you start putting it diagonal, which you don't really want. You kind of just depends on how you want these pixels to flow. And there you go. Now you know how to unwrap your PS1 models inside of Blender. But if you want a super simple and lazy way to texture almost any PS1 asset inside of Blender, click this video right now.